have changed. But again, it's, the interesting thing is, and I'm glad we showed that because I was able to talk to the gentleman that's kind of running this, Brett Brungard.
Yeah.
And I was asking him about the benefits of what it is you're exactly trying to figure out, right? And he talked about it's first and foremost, are you in the 80th percentile as far as, the intangibles, your explosiveness, your speed, your ability to change direction? Because if you are, that's when the general managers and the executives take notice. They put a little star next to your name because now they want it via scouting, via tape, things of that nature. So, what they saw in the college level, and that's what I love about it. Now you see him full court, right? Standing in front of the defender, forcing them. Again, another guy that got over the top. But you got to, communicate. And if you do get beat, then you got to rotate properly and help the big.
Jarin Armstrong in the game for the Black Squad. He got hung up in the air. That made a turnover. He's an interesting story. He's out of Tanzania. Played at California Baptist and then played overseas trying to get his shot at the.
The defense that the black team is playing is about as far out as they're extending. As soon as I say that, but unbelievable as you talk about just the constant turnover and the players on the floor, so everybody gets a chance to show themselves. It's not necessarily about just who can score, who can't score. Again, most of these guys already have a history, right? GMs contested threes in this league in case you happen to have the basketball as the shot clock's running down.
Yeah, Flanagan played at Ole Miss after 4 seasons at Auburn. Averaged almost 15 points a game last year, playing for Bruce Pearl with the Auburn Tigers. Poland missing on the step back.
Can run for a guy his size. He does a little bit of everything, as we've seen. He plays defense.
As he takes the tumble.
Yep.
Show off his ball handling skills, but still able to advance the ball.
Trying to do, and in that, that time when you talk about Duala.
As we hit close to the midway mark of this opening half, as we mentioned, 2 20-minute halves is the format for these games this weekend.
What is it that separates you? A lot of guys can shoot, but it takes more than just being a designated three-point shooter or just a defender to make something happen and get recognized.
Beautiful assist, the NBA draft. He's also in the transfer portal, and he's one of those players that's being looked at pretty seriously right now. He averaged 4.7 points 2 seasons ago. He upped that to 19.7, so that shows he's put a lot of work in during the offseason to get himself ready to go.
Well, that's a significant jump. So then what do these scouts want to see? They want to know why. What is it that he's doing now that he didn't do 2 years ago?
He's definitely improved, no question about it. Let's go down to Gianna with more on Chaz Lanier.
I talked to Chaz in those interviews, and he told me he's had to fight a lot of adversity. I said, what's one of those things you struggle with? He said, well, coming into high school, I was 5'6", and so I was playing point guard, and I was learning all of those things.
He, I think, has shown himself very well here early in this first game.
Ledee with 4 points, 4 Zion Poland knocking down the free throw there. 40-35 in favor of Team 2 in white.
One-on-one, they're not running plays for him. He just does an excellent job in that play there. He set the screen, he slipped properly, and then his ability to get to the rim and finish or create contact.
Good pressure on the ball by Boogie Ellis, almost forcing a turnover. Dump the ball inside. Little jump hook on the baseline is off. And transition with 1:20 to go in the opening half.
But look how Ledee's got his man buried right now. So now this is what he does. He's got strength. Excellent.
Beautiful cut. Took him a little while to get the shot off in favor of Team 2 in white with 50 seconds left to go in the opening half. Here comes Ledee. Go right back at you. He gets through in our post-game interview. Just go to X at NBA G League. Quee's going to get called for the foul inside. And that will send Jarin Stevenson to the line. Alabama, of course, a team that got to the Final Four this past year, surprised a lot of the experts in advancing that far. Stevenson started 5 games during his freshman season there. He's a native of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, only 18 years old. And for him, this might be kind of a look-see, learn from the experience, maybe go back to college and work on some things so he can get ready for another chance down the line.
Yep, I think you hit it right on the head, Mark. Is just because you throw your name in the hat, right? You get an invite. You come here. It's an unbelievable 2-day experience. You get to play against older players, more established, and then you kind of, it's kind of a reality check on what I need to work on.
Yeah, obviously he'll need to get in the weight room a little bit. 6'11", 210. Didn't play big minutes for the Crimson Tide because they had a veteran squad, but chances are he'll go back and work on some things after getting this taste of some really great competition here at the G League Elite Camp. Final 10 seconds of the opening half. Team White leading at 45-41, trying to hold for the final shot of the half. Drive into the paint, looking for the step back move. Good defense by Quee with the shot around to maneuver through the taller players in the paint.
But that's also the situation, as you pointed out, right? Of being able to use that extra step to get away from the defense. As you talk about DXL, the defense then runs in the back of you. Then you take that Euro step to extend. But that's also, again, Jalen Brunson, a guy that, his technique is fantastic. What is his technique? You talk about how does he finish at the rim? Because it's ball, his body, and then he always seems to have the defender on his back or on his side. And I can tell you, as a big that's been put in that situation a lot, that is really frustrating, because as a big you feel like, oh, I'm going to block his shot, but because of how he positions his body, you can't get to it.
There by Wooga Poplar. Here's Isaiah Stevens handling the ball for team 2. They call for good work there by Sine, able to turn the shot away.
I have a feeling, Mark, with the new rule change, they're going to allow the defenders to be a lot more physical, a lot more hands-on than they have in the past to try to balance out, what's going on the floor.
Block shot inside, battle for the loose ball. Last touch by Team White is going to stay with the black squad. On X, go to @NBA G League for a chance to vote on who you'd like to hear from in the post-game interviews. On Team 1, your options are Jesse Edwards, Jadon Ladie, Youngji Quee. Completion of our first game this afternoon. Sine blows a tire trying to get it. Boogie Ellis got a couple of buckets early, but he's been pretty quiet here in the second half. The long three-point shot is good. So he was the guy that was one of the most coveted recruits in the country. He started out playing for Penny Hardaway at Memphis before he transferred to USC, and a lot of people thought he'd be one of those early entry players. He wanted to play
known for, secrecy.
Right, no question about that.
So the first thing I had to do was I had a assumed name. I don't even remember, and that's
James Bond.
Bond, James Bond. Mentioning stuff like that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. As Gianna said, he's taking this very seriously. This is a business trip for him.
He's 6'9", 240, averaged 21 points this past season. So he's a guy that is going to be on the radar for a lot of NBA teams as we get into that second round of the draft. Nice step-through move.
Fixated on one guy, but it just, we're sitting here watching these games just like everybody else, and you always are asking yourself, who stayed Ladie in the first half, and he picked up right where he left off in the second half. I think he, as an individual, when this game is over, when most guys do, he'll go back in his room and he'll analyze what he thought. When he talks to his family, whether it's his girlfriend, his buddies, they'll be like, what do you think? I think he'd have to be happy with how he's played today. What I don't know is how he's tested.
Jump hook.
Yep.
Now they lob it into the big man, not able to guide it into the hoop, and they run the other way with Isaiah Stevens. Kicks it out to the three-point line. Jameer Nelson Jr. is the
team. They're 3 of 18 for 17%.
Sine long on the jumper. Rebound goes to Stevenson. He goes right down Broadway. A little defensive mix up there as he dribbles between two guys and able to lay it in. We're getting a stoppage of the action, and we had some technical difficulties with our score to put on this.
The difference between, the personalities of, how these guys are used to playing and how they're.
We played this past season in the National Basketball League in Australia. A nice no-look pass inside to Edwards. And that time you could see Willie could have gone back to his left hand and laid it in. He obviously doesn't feel comfortable.
No, he doesn't. And I was just thinking the same exact thing, because that's why you're here. You're trying to show what your strengths are, but what you can do is expose yourself to the things that you're not comfortable doing or not guard. You can become too predictable. Sometimes, you can be predictable and still can't be stopped.
Yes, it is. But he ran up a guy that's just almost as big as he is in Donovan Clingan, and Clingan is now projected to be a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft.
Which I find interesting because what I didn't see from Clingan was a lot of, offensive flexibility.
Right. He's not going to shoot that face-up jumper, He doesn't really have a well-rounded offensive game.
I saw a lot of dribble. So, that's the interesting thing. I know he played very well in the postseason, but that's what we're not also talking about, Mark, is where they'll get a look from a lot of teams. They'll do like an open workout with their agent, right? Kind of put them through a scripted workout. I used to do.
Famous father, but Bronny had to deal with the heart ailment, got a late start to his season, only averaged about 4.5 points a game. What do you think the NBA scouts are looking to see from Bronny James to decide what his future might be like in the league?
And because, of what happened to him from a physical standpoint and because of how slow the season, this isn't like this just started. I remember when I was trying out for the Olympic team back in the 80s. And, obviously David Robinson was the starting players because they're like, all right, who's this guy? Why does he get to come?
Yeah.
So, you can talk about favoritism, whatever it is, but a lot of guys, a lot of things happen. But, the question is